Hi, Alan. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure. I'm really sorry I can't be there. I've been to a number of great CUTS conferences.
Thank you, Alan. CUTS is organizing its flagship event, the 7th Biennial Conference, on 16th and 17th of November. And as you are going to be one of our speakers and you've had a long-term association with CUTS, what do you think about the theme of the conference, which is building blocks for an inclusive and resilient economy, and its relevance in the times that we are in today?
It's right at the cutting edge of how we're thinking about competition policy. For too long, there's been a traditional mindset which is quite narrow and which is really based on the perspective of males and furthermore quite well-off males. And we need to bring in an approach which is more inclusive. For example, take gender issues in competition policy, which have historically been neglected. And yet when we look around, there's obviously numerous gender issues that should be considered in competition law. I mean, there's massive discrimination everywhere and in multiple ways against women. And so that is actually highly anti-competitive. Half the workforce, half the population is discriminated against. They don't have full access to work, to education, to capital markets, to being business people, and so on. And competition policy can play a part in changing that. Indeed, if we get more competition in the markets, it is likely to reduce discrimination, because someone who wants to be competitive will see that due to discrimination, traditionally, we have not thought very much about the income distribution effects of competition decisions. And I would emphasize in particular the need to look at the bottom of society, at people who are vulnerable and disadvantaged, because they are more exploitable by monopolies. So it'd be great that CUTS is looking at this in the conference.
Thank you, Alan. It was refreshing to hear you speak about gender and inclusivity in the current times. Moving further, small and medium enterprises were hit by the pandemic the most, which are considered to be the main sources for job opportunities. What do you think should be the role of competition policy for economic recovery in general and in promotion of small medium enterprises in particular?
Just in general, I'm in the school that broadly says, don't change competition too much during a slowdown or a slump like we have now. There's been a long history of making bad concessions during recessions and depressions, which when we come out of it, we find there are more monopolies, more restrictive practices, which it takes years to undo. I just make one concession though. Politically, there's a lot more pressure to cave in to the demands from business for anti-competitive arrangements. Now, turning to small and medium enterprises, they have, in my view, nothing to fear from competition, or they're winners from it. Small and medium enterprises are the victims of monopolies and of those with a lot of market power. And they are the victims of anti-competitive mergers, cartels, abuse of dominance, and the associated denial of opportunity to small business. So I say they've got a lot to gain, and also that should be taken into account by competition bodies. They shouldn't think exclusively about consumer beneficiaries. In practice, also small business is, frankly, it's not very much affected by the actions of competition agencies. So we should work on developing their lobbying power in favour of stronger competition law. So I think that's another important matter that the conference should look at.
That definitely rings true what you're saying, and I hope we are able to move forward in a direction which is beneficial for all sorts of enterprises and not just one in particular. It was a pleasure speaking with you, Allan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.